Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Great to have you with us on the program today. As mentioned, Christine M. Knight, our guest on the program. She's a published author for fiction, one academic work, a songwriter, public speaker, and teacher. A university graduate, Christine researches extensively her subject matter. She's traveled extensively overseas, lived for 3 years in the United States, in San Antonio, Texas, Montgomery, Alabama. Married to an officer in the Royal Australian Air Force, Christine is settled in the Canberra region in Australia. She's with us on This Week in America, talking about celebrities, a right to privacy, based around a new book that she's written called Songbird, which is the third novel in a series. Christine M. Knight, our guest on the program. Hi, Christine. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Rick, and good day, listeners.
It is great to have you with us on the program. Songbird is, I mentioned your extensive research, and that's something that really sets this book apart as I'm reading it. These are people you're describing here. These are not really characters. That's somewhat unusual when you're reading a book. I mean, you really feel like you know these people. Talk a little bit about the subject in the book, Songbird. That's Nikki Mills, who was Mavis Mills, and she sets out for this life of celebrity thinking this is going to be great. And the reality really didn't meet her expectation, did it?
No, and in actual fact, Nikki, who was originally, her given name is Mavis, and her parents named her Mavis because they were naming her after the songbird of spring. And they wanted her to be content with her life and her purpose in life, little realizing that by gifting her with a name associated with music, that she would want to pursue a life in the entertainment industry. In Mavis's late teens, she breaks away from her family and ends up in a really destructive relationship with a man, and she's actually a victim of domestic violence. She ends up leaving that man and then spends 6 years of hardship and anguish as a single parent. She returns to the world of music and the small arena of music with the hope of making a few extra dollars to supplement her income and to support her son. She's not getting any child maintenance at all from the father, the biological father of the child. When she returns to the world of music, her talent, she's very, very talented. She writes music as well as performs, is recognized. And the second book, Life Song, traces her return to the industry and the tugs of war, the real life tugs of war that a person faces, any musician faces, and the degree to which they will sell out their music and they will sell out their privacy in order to have fame. Songbird is when Mavis is now the songbird of Oz, and she's on the golden road to a better life, and she finds that fame is not all that she imagined it to be, and that dreams and reality are often quite different. Songbird traces the impact of fame and very, very much the intrusion on her life and the impinging of her right to privacy. And it also, its subtitle is Matters of the Heart, because like many people who are pursuing a really difficult goal, much of your life is taken over by that pursuit. And you really don't have time for a lot of relationships, especially a love interest can take a woman particularly off course. And so Mavis, when she was Mavis, decided to focus on her son and her career and making it, in the hope that down the track she would find love. She changed her name to Nikki Mills because Mavis didn't really sort of crack it for her band.
You know, the book is called, and this is the third novel in a series, and by the way, it's standalone, so if you pick this up, you'll be able to follow the story. It's a really interesting, entertaining story. It's called Songbird is the book. Our guest on This Week in America is Christine M. Knight. Her website is christinemknight.com.au. You can link on directly to Christine's site by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, if you would like. You've got a music video there, which is really interesting because in about, 3.5, 4 minutes, you're really able to tell a great story of what her life is. And there's a part in there where she's talking to her son and saying, I know this can be scary at times. Talk about that aspect because, yeah, you think as a star, everything is going in your favor. You've got everything that you want. Yet with everybody following you, the intensity of the media upon you, it can be a scary time, especially if you're a young child.
Yes, and especially when that intrusion is not in public forums, when you go out in your capacity as a celebrity. And what Nikki and her 10-year-old son Dan discover is that there are certain elements in the community who are determined to make money off the lives of the famous and the successful. And they will go to incredible lengths to intrude on a person's life. For the family and for the extended family and friends, that can actually mean them being waylaid as much as the star. Even, in fact, Dan even finds that his school is intruded when the paparazzi camp out on the border of the school grounds and the public footpath. You call a footpath a pavement, and they can't. The kids at the school can't get out because the media are there.
Yeah, it used to be media had restrictions. There were certain things that were off limits, and I'm not sure anything is off limits now. If you tend to think they are off limits, you will have somebody from another publication that's there intruding, infiltrating that space and coming up with a scoop, and then these people end up wishing that they were the ones that were there. The book is Songbird that we're talking about. It's the third novel in a series. We're talking about celebrities and a right to privacy. During that music video, there's also a segment where they're talking about being treated like a commodity, and you really don't think about that a whole lot until you give it a little bit of thought, and you're like, yeah, these people are basically commodities. They're a brand, they're a commodity.
Yes, and I actually love that part of the video because the aging rock star
Yes.
Doesn't remember. He gets caught up in his career. He got sucked into the what supposedly rock the music industry is supposed to be, a culture that was very prevalent in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. I think it's still prevalent in some sections this century. And he doesn't remember his past, but he thinks it must have been good because he looks happy in the pictures, which is a sad comment on,
yes.
on his experience not to have remembered his life. And Nikki and the aged rock star discuss whether or not you can and do have a right to privacy. And the rock star believes, like many, he's the voice of the many in the industry who feel that in order to be successful, you have to give away a lot of yourself. And they believe what the media and the publicity teams tell them, that you've got to feed the appetite of your fans, and that whether that's notoriety or whether it's wholesome stuff, there are elements in the publicity group who think it doesn't matter, that what's important is that you stay in the public eye. Nikki, by contrast, believes that she can retain parts of her life, and when the rock star says, well, good luck with that, she says, just you watch me. And the story is very much about that journey, the drama in how does she stake out her world, how does she stake out her privacy, and how does she deal with people who are determined to construct a version of her life that isn't actually her life, but based on a few facts that they've gleaned. And I look very much at the way truth can be distorted and how alternative pictures of life can be created using the same facts.
What is interesting in the book Songbird, as well as the prequel Life Song, and you'll see the music video if you go to Christine's website, which is christinemknight.com.au, is this conflict. And we've talked about that. You treat it as a commodity. You've got family members that feel scared. Yet the scene is a concert, looks like a sellout concert. The crowd is pumped. Everybody's ready to go. The headliner is coming out. You see her walking out to the stage, actually walking on stage, and that exhilaration that you have to feel when you're on stage. You are the center of attention, and you are the star that these people are craving. That's got to be intoxicating, isn't it?
It is. And I found it very, very interesting. I sort of interviewed musicians, very, very famous and down to not so famous. And despite their amazing talent and ability, and despite their incredible facade of confidence, there was a feeling of somehow they weren't worthy of their success. There was a feeling of inadequacy, and that adulation when they go on stage, and it's quite amazing. Even when you're backstage and you're at a concert like that, it comes in incredible, like a tsunami of a wave of huge, intense emotion. It's very, very, electric's not good enough to describe it. It really is like this huge wave washing over you. And it is, you do get a high, and you feel it elated, and it, for a time being during performance, offsets any feelings of inadequacy, deep seated though they may be, and any feelings of being unworthy. The problem, of course, is when the anticlimax, the letdown after it, and that letdown and anticlimax is not only fatiguing, but it leads to a sense of flatness, which many people actually seek other ways of getting rid of that terrible flatness instead of actually working through the process and understanding it's just part of the performance syndrome.
And then some in their careers go from the high that we just talked about to doing sold out arenas all around the world to playing smaller and smaller venues to where you're doing an oldies tour somewhere. So there's just, that's captured, the whole idea of celebrity is captured in Songbird, the prequel Life song. With us on the program, Christine M. Knight, actor, musician, drama teacher, best-selling author. Her website is christinemknight.com.au. In talking about celebrities, the great question is, do they have, especially in the social media age, do they have a right to privacy, or do they give that up when they become public figures, or can they have a little bit of column A and column B?
In answer to that, I think the first thing for us to consider is the fact that our job, be it a trash collector or a major star, is not a reason for others to deny us our basic rights. And whether we realize it or not, we all have a public persona, the face and the identity we choose to show people outside of our homes. That public persona is not always a conscious construction for everyday people, but for celebrity figures, it is. That persona is shaped by the roles that others see us play when we're out and about, and what we choose to share about ourselves. When we talk about the right to privacy, we're not just talking about someone taking pictures of us. We're talking about our right to have a private space. And that's really, like, in Australia, we have quite a large physical, personal private space. But that sense of the right to privacy also in Australia and America and in Western countries in Europe refers to our privacy of our home, privacy of our property. It also refers most importantly to the right to control the access of others to our private space. We have a right when someone steps in way too close to us to say, "You're too close, please back off." I'm sure your listeners will be very, very aware of how celebrities are really hounded, and how they literally push cameras and physically their bodies are almost, and cameras are pressed against the celebrity or the star. It's the people trying to make a living off the fame of others. Actually, they offer a form of violence. It's not, they don't bash them, but they intrude so much. It's incredibly scary, and it's wrong, because if we as a society condone that, say, okay, it's situations where if I'm going to make $1 off you, I can do what I want and take away your rights, then that's a precedent, and it can extend not just to celebrities, but it can be extended to a whole range of people who have a tragedy. I really hate the media. We had a terrible, I hate the media intrusion on moments of great grief and tragedy. We had a terrible incident, very unusual in Australia, a couple of months ago, where a young teacher, the day or so before her wedding, was killed, shot. And in the town of Leeton and Country Town, and the whole town and the school community were out at the funeral in mourning. It was awful how the press took close-ups, and it was almost like that gladiatorial support of feeding of someone else's grief and making money. You know, grief is something to grief. People are suffering; they're at their most vulnerable. If we don't protect people's rights and assert the right to privacy in all situations, then as a society, there's a threat to us because we're becoming desensitized. We're becoming very rubbernecky. You know, like when there's an accident. What can I get out of that? It's not about what you can get out of it. It's about respect for others.
Christine M. Knight, our guest on the program, best-selling author, actor, musician, drama teacher. We're talking about celebrities and their right to privacy, a topic that she discusses in her new book, Songbird, which is the third novel in a series. The prequel is Life Song. And again, you get all the information. Books available all around the country. You can get information at Christine's website, which is christinemknight.com.au. Of course, link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. A couple minutes left in the program. What's fascinating sometimes with celebrities is they have a great deal of success. They seem to be loved by the public, yet they stumble and suddenly they've lost that. They've lost the sympathy of the audience. Talk about why that happens, why we, I guess, sort of enjoy it for a while, being there with them, supporting them, and then we can turn on them awful quickly, can't we?
In certain instances, I do think fans can be amazingly loyal. I thought Katy Perry's fans, during Katy's various ups and downs in her private life, sent her many messages of love and support. But she, as a performer, gives back to her audience as well. When stars become very narcissistic and very self-absorbed and think they're somehow, it's like the Roman emperor complex. They're above all societal rules. They are demigods themselves. That's when the audience loses sympathy for them. And the audience also loses sympathy for them when they complain about how hard their life is. For most of us, the average person, who is struggling to pay the rent, worrying about how to pay utility bills, medical and dental expenses, save for college or university. We look at a person like that, their abundance of wealth, everything that seems to make life easier, and we don't actually understand how awful that life can be when it's constantly invaded and when there's constant intrusion. We also don't understand that many great artists have been outsiders in some way most of their life. And the thing that makes an artist really significant in many ways is that artists are observers. Their talent separates them from many people. When they first come into fame, there's this clamor and there's this adoration for them. But they discover that they can't really make any genuine relationships because people don't really want to know them. They want to know the star. And it's almost as if they're in battle with this. They've got this manufactured persona that was meant to help promote their career, and the real person is in conflict with the manufactured persona, and it can often lead to depression. It's very sad.
It is sad, and we're back to how we began the program, talking about the perception of being a celebrity, the perception of success in the arts, and the reality sometimes is far different. With us on the program, and we'll have Christine back with us, is Christine M. Knight, best-selling author, actor, musician, drama teacher. Information available at Christine's website, which is very simple, christinemknight, KNIGHT.com.au. You can link on directly to Christine's website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. The book specifically we were talking about was Songbird. That's the third novel in a series. The prequel is Life Song. Again, books available all across the country, and you can get information, of course, at Christine's website. Christine, a fascinating discussion. We look forward to having you back in the program. Thank you for being with us. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for having me on the program, and goodbye, listeners.
We look forward to having you back. And once again, all the information on Christine and all of our guests at our website, thisweekinamerica.us.